Hey everybody, it's MarVeena, and I wanted to welcome you to my Angel Q&A. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the third eye chakra and how we can best work with the Archangel Raphael and the Archangel Mary in order to activate that center and to clear any debris that might be blocking you from being able to utilize your third eye chakra. So the first thing that you want to do is to put your name in the comments and where you're tuning in from. And this is just a great way to connect to the angel circle and to kind of share our energy. So hello, everybody. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Parker. I'm glad you all could make it today. So the first part, I'm going to be doing a presentation on the Archangel Raphael and the Archangel Mary and how they can oversee us being able to clear out any debris, any issues that are buried in the tissues, and in this case, buried in the third eye chakra, that are keeping us from being able to really utilize this center. And then after I do that, I will open up to a few questions. So later on in the circle, then just write down whatever questions that you have for your angels and create an intention to be open to receiving information that can help you to best move forward in your soul's highest intended path. And when you have an open heart and an open mind, that helps you to be more receptive to hearing ideas and information, maybe directly through me. I might be doing a reading for somebody else and it answers one of your questions. But if you keep your mind open and your heart open, it's highly likely that your own angels will just kind of key into you whatever answers to the questions that you have that can help you to make the next move forward. So just remember, an open heart, an open mind, and that just helps to create a way for the angels to better work with you. And if you have a tea candle or some sort of candle, go ahead and light that. If you'd like to burn some incense, it's just a really good way to bring the support from the elementals into our space. And we really resonate to that, even if we don't quite know why we resonate to that. But the elementals can be very supportive and can really help us to pull together whatever information is going to be useful for us. So hello, Colleen. Hi, Sissy. Hi, Lisa. I'm glad you all could make it today. We've got a lot of people tuning in. I've got a couple of streams here that I'm trying to keep up with, but I'm really tickled that you all could be a part of this. I think it is really important that we have a trust that our own angel team is best prepared to help us navigate our entire soul journey. And so even though sometimes you may feel disconnected from your guides and from your angels and from your highest path here, I think it's really important to kind of hold a place in your heart and just trust that your team has your interests at mind and they can help you to gather whatever sorts of data or information or ideas or answers to your questions, even if I can't answer them directly here in the Q&A. So there's a lot of energy when we get together and we hold sacred space, and even though we're not connected physically, energetically, we are connected. The Archangel Raphael and the Archangel Mary are very interested, and they are in charge of developing our third eye and helping us to make the best use of it. A lot of times people get caught up in the idea that the third eye is just for receiving psychic impressions and maybe receiving information about your surroundings, but it's so much more than that. It is, when it is fully charged and fully activated and completely developed, it is like a crystal ball that you can use as a tool to create health, to create even prosperity, opportunities, whatever it is that we want to manifest and to create. Back in the golden days of Atlantis, we all had fully developed chakras, and we were all able to use our higher gifts and our higher powers and our higher skills. But because, for whatever reason, we weren't happy in paradise, we misused our power. And that means that we had to kind of suffer the repercussions of that. And we kind of have to go back to the basics and work our way back up to being able to access our higher gifts and our higher abilities. And one of the foundation tenets that we need to demonstrate before we can have full access to a fully activated third eye is being able to kind of walk our talk here in this lifetime from a place of integrity and a place of impeccability, utilizing our will in a good way for the higher good, not just for our good, but for the higher good of all beings. And so that is one of the pieces of business that you want to really take to heart, and just know that as you are evolving and working towards higher levels of self-awareness and self-mastery, that it's important that we be true to ourselves, but that we do the best we can to live with integrity and impeccability. And we're all human. We all, get sidetracked from time to time and make mistakes, but just trust that our angel team can help us to find ways to balance out what we might have said that was harsh, or what we might have done. The Archangel Raphael and the Archangel Mary both work with the Lords of Karma very closely, and the Lords of Karma keep accounts of everything that we have done in other lifetimes, that where we might have misused our power, misused our talents, or we might have hurt someone, or physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or on whatever level. And they keep a record of that. And in this lifetime, just every so often, we get opportunities to clear some of that karmic debt. And it's just like if we had a loan out to the bank, and we all of a sudden we get a windfall of money, and we're like, well, we could go to Alaska for a vacation, or we could pay back the mortgage on the house. It's very tempting to kind of let that mortgage ride, but it's so important that we do what we can to always pay back our karmic debts whenever we can, as soon as we can, from the highest place of integrity that we can. And we're going to be better off for it. And we're still going to get to take that cruise to Alaska. We may not know it then, but the universe just has a way of rewarding us when we're walking in a good place, in balance and in harmony. So when you feel like, for whatever reason, that you may have karmic issues that are blocking your third eye from you being able to use it, then you want to just maybe create a ceremony with your angels, ask your guides, angels, and teachers to sit with you, and just send out a voice from your heart to the Holy Spirit and to Archangel Raphael in particular and Archangel Mary to turn their attention towards you and give you a little bit of insight or awareness of things that you can do that can help you to figure out what pieces of business are undone and how you can engage with those. A lot of times you might have them out of the blue, have a dream of someone from the past that you might have had a connection to, and somehow that relationship went sour and it just kind of left a bad taste in your mouth. Then it's like the Lords of Karma, along with our angel team, are helping us to have kind of like not necessarily a do-over, but a chance to apologize to that person for whatever miscommunication you might have had with that, or whatever your role was. And if they are the one that hurt your feelings, then that's an opportunity for you to forgive them, which is important because we want to be balanced and even. And if we're holding grudges and negativity towards people, then we're not going to be balanced, and we're going to have debris, and that looks like crystals on our third eye, and it keeps us from using like our higher resources. And when we're able to make amends to that person or ask them for forgiveness and kind of achieve some sort of peace and balance, then it kind of frees up that crystallized energy that is blocking the third eye from being able to receive vibrancy from creation, from the Holy Spirit, because all of our chakras are reaching out into the universe, and they're pulling light from creation, from the Holy Spirit. They're tapping into whatever is going on in our environment, and they're bringing us back data along with life force energy. And our body needs that rejuvenation. And in this circumstance, through the third eye, the organs in the brain need that vital oxygenated light energy in order to function appropriately and to function at their optimum. So the third eye chakra corresponds to our pituitary gland, to the pineal gland, to the medulla oblongata. And so if we have a lot of icky stuff that's blocking our third eye, then it's like we're starving it. And so we're starving the organs in the brain. And if you starve them long enough, then they will start to present disease and imbalance, and you won't be able to function the way you could have. So if nothing else, that's a great reason to clear the third eye chakra, is to be able to have access to our resources. So some of the issues that might affect the third eye are when we get distorted viewpoints about other people not seeing things the way we see things, or maybe seeing things that traumatize us. But there are other issues that can affect your third eye. But when you meditate with that intention to receive information about what is contributing to the blockages on your third eye, if there are any. Most people have some, maybe not a lot, but do some meditations with that intention, and that will help to give you some clues. And once you get some clues, then you can do some follow-up, maybe some ceremonies or some types of clearings or other healing modalities that will help you to engage with those ideas and to reframe them so that they're no longer that you no longer have a charge on that situation. That's a good way to look at it, is whenever you can go back to the past, to events that might have hurt you at the time, but now you can look at it and you're like, it is what it is. And there's no longer any like negatively charged energy. Then you're in a great place to clear those pieces. Like they're no longer an issue. And so your energy body will reflect that with better balance, and you'll be more able to use your resources. So the third eye, I look at it as sort of like an application. You know how when we get a phone, like a new cell phone, like a smartphone, and it has some apps on it that are like, it comes with it. We don't have to go to iTunes or to the App Store and buy an app or upload an app. It's already there. But sometimes we do have to activate it. But our third eye chakra is like that. Like it is an app that comes with us, and it's a piece of software that is a hidden jewel. Two of the things that make it so special is that we can use the third eye to visualize vibrant health and vibrant well-being. So that's a clue, is visual. And it is, but when the third eye center is really vibrant, and it's kind of like this visionary tool, crystal ball, and crystal magnifies things. So we can go into this center with our visual images that we're wanting to create. So in that circumstance, we're wanting to revitalize our physical, mental, emotional bodies. We just hold that image in the third eye of what we're wanting to experience on our physical body, on the emotional body or the mental body, wherever we're feeling out of balance, or where we're feeling pain, or we might be feeling disease or just icky stuff that's bothering us. So it is a center to envision. And I never thought of it as something that goes with creating prosperity, but I know that a lot of times some of the people on this thread, that they're going through some really hard times creating opportunities for themselves, creating prosperity and abundance. They're very focused, that's a clue there, focused on lack. And so our third eye can also be an app that we can go into and that we can envision opportunities to use our creativity strategically, powerfully, productively, to manifest what it is that we're wanting to experience, what types of prosperity that we're wanting to come back to us. They go together. Our health and our wealth go together. And when you think about it, it's like if you're not healthy, then you're not in a position to manifest. So it is hugely important that we understand we have access to unlimited energy, and energy is what we use to turn into prosperity, or what we use to turn into physical well-being. And so when we are able to access that energy and to bring it into our systems, then we're in a much better position to manifest and to create. So that's just two great reasons to be able to activate your third eye. Another thing that we can use the third eye for is to be able to perceive whatever sorts of energies are around us, whether it is angelic energies or maybe a loved one from the spirit world that is coming in to visit us, or angels, or what types of energies that we're perceiving that are in our space. So our energy field goes out and it picks up data on so many levels that are just beyond our scope to really comprehend. But just trust that the third eye has these like little energy feelers, and whenever it's really activated, it can receive data that we can bring back into our brain centers and interpret that and make better use of that data, and be able to use it to really navigate our journey here in a much more powerful way. So the third eye center, what we want to do as a meditation is what I think of as I like to do the Hatha yoga breathing exercises. Those seem to me the most powerful in twofold. One of them is clearing out icky stuff or debris, or at least bringing it to your attention so that you can do some forgiveness work on it, or you can engage with that idea. But the other thing is to be able to oxygenate the brain and the centers, the organs of the brain. For the most part, most of us are not fully oxygenated. We're not getting enough pure oxygen into the bloodstream, into the organs of the brain, and all of the organs in our body suffer because of it. So it is a good idea to do some exercises every day to help oxygenate the brain centers and the blood. The one that I like to use the most is a Hatha yoga breathing technique. And this is a breathing technique that has been around forever. And it's used in a lot of the different mystery paths, like both the Eastern mysteries and the Western mysteries. So anytime that you see a ceremony, like for instance, the Sweat Lodge is a ceremony that you see in the Western mysteries, that you see types of it in the Eastern mysteries as well, as like a purification process. But the Hatha yoga breathing technique is a great way to get light into the third eye. And the light, you want to imagine the light as from the Holy Spirit, just directly from the highest source in the universe, and imagine it going into the third eye and stimulating the chakra there and purifying it and bringing more vibrancy to that area. The way that I was taught to do the Hatha yoga breathing technique is to use this, what we call the alternate breath. And it's awkward. I got to tell you all, it is a very awkward breathing technique to learn. But once you learn it and you start to use it, it is so powerful. And I also have to warn you that it is, you may feel a little bit disoriented when you first start doing it, or you might feel ungrounded. So it's always a good idea to be extra sure that before you start your meditation, that you do a grounding exercise, like visualize yourself with like a cord that's running down the back of your spine, and just imagine that cord. I like to do my Hatha yoga breathing technique sitting up, and I just have flat-footed, and you use your hands. You use one hand to coordinate it, and then I use the other hand to count because because you get a little bit scattered, while you're doing it. But you just want to visualize that a cord is just running down the back of your spine, and just imagine it going right down through the bottom of the chair, out of your root chakra, into the floor, down through the ground, underneath the house, into the sand, deeper into the soils, all the way down, just straight down to the center of the earth, through the rocks, the stones, the boulders, whatever is down there. And just imagine when you get to the very center of the core of the earth, just in your mind, just imagine that there is a giant boulder, and just kind of throw that cord around that boulder and tie a knot so that you're very grounded and secure in the center of the earth. And then just imagine that you're coming back up that cord into your physical body. And I just like to go hand over hand. Just imagine, pretend, use your visualization skills, and just pull yourself back up through the rocks, the stones, the boulders, the sand, the soils, back into the ground beneath your house, up through the center of the floor, all the way back into your physical body. And then you just start your third eye exercise. And the way that I do it is you want to use your index finger and your thumb, and that's how you block off the breath. And because it's called the alternate breath, you're alternating, inhaling through each side of the nostril. So you're going to start with blocking the left side of your nose with your thumb. You just push it. I'm not going to push it because I won't be able to talk, but you just use your thumb to just push it just like that. And then you inhale. You keep the right side of your nose open, and you inhale on the right side. And there are many counts that you can use, but I like to use the count of 6. So you just inhale and you count to 6. And so you just inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you pinch your nose. So you're using both your index finger and your thumb, and you pinch your nose, and then you're holding your breath, and you count to 6. And then you have the index finger on the right side, and you have that side of the nose closed. You open the thumb side, and you let the air out the left side, because you're alternating sides here. And then you count to 6 as you exhale the breath, and then you do what I call a coasting breath. So you just count to 6 after you've exhaled, so you're counting to 6, and then you inhale and you count to 6 on the left side. So you're alternating, breathing in one side, breathing out the other, then breathe in and then breathe out. And every time you use your fingers to open and close the nose, so the breath either escapes or it doesn't escape. And then when you have your nose closed on both sides, you count to 6, and that is where you're holding your breath. And I know this is tricky to add to this little piece here, but after you do that, you want to, as you inhale the breath, you want to imagine the light from the Holy Spirit just coming in to the nose all the way up into the third eye. And that is, it's kind of like it's like an activator. It's hugely, hugely powerful. So I would recommend starting with 5 sets. So one set will be you inhale, you exhale, you inhale back on this side, and then you exhale on the right side, and that is 1 set. That's 1 count. And so then you go back in, do it again, come back over to the right, and then that is 2. So I would start with 5, and I would add one a day until you build up to like doing 20 of those. And then I would just kind of leave it at 20, because that honestly is plenty. That's a lot of breath work, and it is deceptively powerful. So I can't emphasize that enough. I've had some of my students recently that did that, and they're like, man, I got so dizzy. But make sure that you ground yourself, and if you ground yourself, then you won't it won't be as uncomfortable. Because I'm going to tell you, I had a very uncomfortable experience with that, because I did too many too soon. You have to acclimate yourself to spiritualizing, taking in these really high voltage energy, and it takes a while to fully acclimate to it. So that's why I recommend that you do 5 to start with, and then every day just add one until you get up to like 20 or 21 repetitions. And after you do your breathing exercise, just either sit still for about 15 minutes or so, or lay down on your back and just kind of let everything relax totally, and let all of that light energy kind of do its magic and synthesize into your system. Because we have an integration time. Like, we can't just take so much powerful light energy into the organs of our body without giving us a little bit of time to acclimate to that higher level of energy. Because if we do, we might you might be like bumping into things, tripping over the furniture. And so you definitely don't want to drive. Anytime you meditate, make sure that you spend some time to really ground and really get back into the body before you go anywhere outside of the house, especially, so that you're fully ready to get to be in the body and be present in the body. One way that I like to do that is after I'm done with my meditation, I lay down for a while. I gave myself some time to soak it all in and integrate that energy. What I like to do is you want to eat something light and drink some water. That is one good way of kind of getting back into your body. Another way is to say your full name and your address, your birthday, whatever sort of information like that is kind of helpful to kind of get you grounded back into this dimension, so that you're not like bumping into everything. Because believe me, I've done everything wrong, and I've learned the hard way. I don't want you all to learn the hard way. I want you to kind of take my mistakes and you start from there, so that you don't make those mistakes. That way it's kind of like we've all made a gain. All right, so okay, in the third eye, there are 96 petals in the third eye. So I'm not going to go over all of those petals, but each one of the petal, it's like a chamber, and it contains like a life lesson or an idea that we need to comprehend that life lesson, and we really need to get why it's that way. It's like we need to fully understand that before we can have passed the lesson of that particular chamber. And then once we pass the lesson, then the light floods that chamber, and that part of the petal is fully open, and available to us. It's kind of the idea that, have you ever walked out into your flower garden and there's a flower out there and it's like halfway open and it looks sort of pretty, but you just know that if it really fully opened up, it would look so much more beautiful. So when our third eye is fully activated, it really is a shining, magnificent center of light. And people around you will intuitively, they will know that. They may not know why they're staring at you or why they're attracted to you, but they will kind of know that. It's like they will feel it. So we call the petals the 7 veils of the third eye chakra, and you can think of them as like a veil, as like a series of lessons. And as you're able to really work with did y'all see all of those orbs that are coming around? It's like there's a lot of angels that are participating today, so they've been busy all morning. But as we're able to walk through each of these veils, then we're able to grasp more of an understanding of the aspect of ourself that is a part of the divine creation. And we kind of get why we're here and why it's important to really engage with our self-mastery lessons. So the first veil is called the veil of illusion. And so in order to pass the test of the veil of illusion, we want to, I think, balance out the idea of understanding that we're an aspect of creation. So we're a creator and trainer in training here, but at the same time, we want to be humble. Because when we get into that big head that I'm all that and you're not all that, then that is being in illusion. And so that's not a good thing. We want to know that we're all an aspect of the divine mind. Even when you meet people that are just so off their path and totally, in a funk and in a bad place, then they are still an aspect of creation. They have free will. We all have free will. It's one of the greatest gifts that the Holy Spirit gives us. But it's important that we make up our own mind of when we're going to kind of let go of these illusions and be able to move forward. So the first one is knowing ourselves as a part of the divine mind, but keeping a humble outlook on that. The second veil is about mental healing. And I feel like because I'm working with Raphael is the overlighting archangel for me. And what our overlighting archangel is the, it's kind of like one of our higher master teachers who checks in with us every so often and just kind of gets a read on how we're progressing, are we progressing, and sends us some like currents of encouragement, maybe in a dream, maybe in a vision, and that keeps an eye on us. And when we have kind of moved through enough of our self-mastery lessons, then that overlighting archangel begins to kind of take us under their wing a little bit stronger, like give us access to higher lessons and higher levels of access to mysteries. that like spiritual mysteries of the universe and of our journey here, and the purpose and higher purposes and things like that. So I do have in my angelic intensive, I have more information about the overlighting archangels and how you can work with the different archangels to that overlight you, and you find your overlighting angel by the month that you were born in and the day. But I do have some information about that in my angelic intensive program. So there's a lot of information there, but mental healing in particular is Archangel Raphael. That's like one of his expertise, is working with healing modalities on any level. But working with the third eye is the idea of rebalancing through using our visual skills, our skills of being able to hold a vision for our desire, for the vibrancy that we're wanting to see for ourselves or for our little dog or for people that you love in your life. It is such a powerful thing. It's like one of the best ways that we can make use of our third eye. And a lot of times, I don't know about you all, but sometimes you watch things on the news and it's so depressing, but we can use our third eye to hold a vision for whatever circumstances that are going on, to be able to kind of stream to those people or those countries that are going through some hard times, to stream in some healing light, some angelic support, some vibrational healing energy or symbols or sounds that can be comforting or whatever. But that is like one of the best ways that we can use this tool of our third eye. And that reminds me that the Archangel Raphael, his twin flame is the Archangel Mary. And so they together, they hold the perfect balance of the divine masculine energies and the divine feminine. And they work with, on planet Earth, the third eye chakra for planet Earth is Afghanistan. And so when everybody, or not everybody, but when a lot of people have been able to activate their third eye, and they're working their personal pieces, moving up towards higher levels of self-mastery and self-awareness, they're activating this amazing tool of healing, of mental healing, and the third eye chakra of the earth will begin to reflect that, and then that area will attain peace. And so that is just an amazing reason to use it right there. But we can use that, the third eye for healing by visualizing. There's a lot of different healing modalities that we can use. We can visualize symbols streaming out either to someone that we love or to an area in the world that is hurting or needing energy. We can visualize color. We can visualize the angels going to that area and bringing whatever resources that they need there for balance and well-being. So the third veil is the veil of telepathy. So back in the golden days of Atlantis, we used telepathy all the time, and we used that more than we used our voices. Our voices were mostly used to sing and to chant, and for healing purposes. A lot of times that the vibration and the sound could be very powerful and very therapeutic. But in the days of Atlantis, we we're able to communicate just by thinking to somebody, just sending a thought, kind of like now we use our text to be able to send a message to someone. In the days of Atlantis, we could just mind to mind send a text, and that person would receive it, and we would know that they got it, that they received it. But the thing about this is that we have to be committed to the truth. We have to be authentic and in that place where we're comfortable in our skin. I am what I am. And when you're authentic and you're in your truth, then you don't care if anybody else reads you. And that's one of the challenges as some of the people in Atlantis, that they started misusing their power, is they didn't want anybody to know they were misusing their power. So it's like by being deceptive, they lost their gifts. And as more and more of us are walking our talk, we're being true to ourselves and our soul journey and the big picture instead of the little picture, we'll be able to use that skill a lot better. And my husband and I do it all the time. So you might notice that every so often it's like you just know what song is going to be on the radio, or what they're going to say on TV, or what finish your husband's sentence, whatever he was saying, or say the same thing at the same time. And it's like you're using that skill. So that's one of the veils. The fourth veil is of creation. And this is about using the third eye as a visual instrument to go into and be very clear and very deliberate about what our desire is to manifest